Hello and welcome back to the Smoke Room. We will be continuing where we left off, which, if you recall, is right after Todd brought the body of Huxley Green for the sheriff to view, and then they decided to go question Clifford because, when the assailant shows up dead, maybe the supposed victim of the assault might turn out to be actually, the person involved. But anyways, yeah. Let's continue and see what happens. Oh yeah, we're gonna go to either City Hall or the Stag, but we're actually going to go to City Hall and then the Stag. So yeah. Alright, I'm off to see Mayor Testerman. Are you still gonna be able to watch over everything while I'm gone, Todd? Sure thing. Did I hear that you're paying old Franz another visit? Why, that's basically an honor. Not really. He just wants to ask me whether or not the city is close to a state of emergency. That sounds like him, alright. Old Franz always looks out for us. Seems like only yesterday when I was a pup that he gave old woman Willoughby his own jacket on Easter Sunday. I remember how she said her feet turned so cold. And when the doctor paid her a house call, they said that she nearly died. But she dreamed about Franz. In her dreams, he was an angel, William. And he brought her back from the cold while she was asleep. So you're saying that he did the bare minimum that most people would do for an old woman, and then took credit for saving her life? Well, the Lord works in mysterious ways, William. I think you could agree that he pretty much did save her life, no matter how you look at it. This poor man. That's nice, Todd. Lots of things are nice when you just stop to think about them. These things thou hast done, and I keep silence, though thoughtest that I was altogether such an one as thyself, but I will reprove thee, and set them in order before thine eyes. Sam is staring down at a pocket Bible. He looks angry. Now consider this, ye that forgot God, lest I tear you in pieces, and there be none to deliver. Psalm 50, 21, 22. He shuts the pages between his paws with a crisp snap. You just sounded like a genuine preacher man, Sam. Well, I'm not. I just thought that it was an important thing to share. I'll admit, I need to brush up on my Old Testament, but the way you said that made me feel like I was sweating in the pews. You ever read any of the Book of Mormon? Sam still looks a bit mad, and now Cliff looks uncomfortable. Well, I'll leave this thrilling theological conversation to all of you. Bye. Sam sure is invested in the Bible. You'd think he'd suck off enough men to be put off by all the bitching about adultery, but he keeps getting wrapped up in all the metaphysics. I know why he's mad at Todd. Todd believes in a loving, affectionate God. Sam believes in a wrathful God. It's like he wants there to be something real that he can be afraid of. Alright, I think that's enough church for me today. Downtown is always so wide open when I go there. The wind picks up between the tall buildings and makes the wooden shutters rattle. It's the closest reminder of my city. Other than the bars after dark. Bars always have the same sticky smell no matter where you are in the world. I expect to run into Judge Miller or Clerk Chrissy Smalls or somebody feeling for their liquor license. But what I see instead is Reed Morris. You stop right there, Reed. Oh god, fucking damn it. I have some questions for you. I don't have time for your flea-bitten ass today. That's not how this works. Keep your hands where I can see them and don't make a scene. Why, am I under arrest for the 15th fucking time? I guess it depends. It'll just be like old times. We're used to each other by now. You gonna fill me up like a fucking faggot and strip me off my rights again? You're the only one who's thinking that, not me. Go ruin someone else's day, you ugly son of a bitch. Cut that shit. Did you break into Mr. Tibbits' apartment last night, or no? He looks guilty. There's a whole lot more to it than that. So you're not even trying to lie about it? That fucking fruit did something to Huxley. I goddamn know that he did. And what if he didn't, Reed? You just went off and beat his door down like a goddamn lunatic? He started some shit, he got his ass beat, and he took revenge on my friend. And I'm sure as hell not gonna trust your shady ass to lift a finger over it because you don't even like me in the first place. I need you to stop talking for a few minutes and start listening. Some kid tried to shoot up my office 2 nights ago using Huxley's pistol. His revolver? He pawned it. Anybody could have bought it. Not a 15-year-old without a job and no parents. Sales record indicates he bought it back. Now he's sweating. That's a hell of a lot of evidence that could implicate the two of you for attempted murder, damaging government property, and endangering the life of 2 officers. Hell, that's more than enough to string you up. We didn't do none of that. I don't think you did either, you dumb asshole. He blinks and looks confused. Breaking and entering is unacceptable, and you will pay for that crime in time. But just talk to me for a bit, and I'll have it so you won't have to spend the rest of the day in jail. Okay, shoot. Why did he pawn the gun in the first place? He was having money troubles. And why is that? A man with troubles has gotta drink. A little too much, maybe? That's rich, based on what I hear about you. I can afford my drinks, Reed. What made him live beyond his means? He has problems. Had problems, but I don't think he can handle that yet. Yeah, I know. I saw what his problems did to Marcy. What, you think she doesn't like it that way too? His greasy fur bends in a slow, cracked smile, and his eyes wrinkle. His moldy cotton smell reminds me of how my father smelled at his wake, and it makes me want to puke up bile. But now that I think about it, he was acting different lately. Different how? Longer hours at the bank. Sounded paranoid. Of Mr. Tibbits? No, Tibbits just made him laugh. He wasn't scared at all of that mouthy little fairy. Now something's troubling him, like he's starting to get it. He kept talking about buying back that pistol, like he was gonna need it to defend himself soon, but I thought he hadn't yet. And this was after you both had your quarrel with Mr. Tibbits? No, this was happening before. So, who would have had an eye on the gun? Marcy would know where he hid it. He always kept it close to her. Of course he did. So maybe a chat with Marcy would have been a little smarter than tearing down Mr. Tibbits' apartment then, huh? May I go now? Sure, but I don't want to see you 100 yards within the stoat, or we're gonna have ourselves a more punctual problem. I don't give a damn if he didn't take the gun. But if Marcy says that he did take it, I'll kill him. To ask somebody to shoot at him? Maybe. Brilliant. That would make a whole lot of sense. I'll find out soon enough anyway. He turns away and walks stiffly into the alley. Don't think I won't come looking for you later when it's time to pay repair costs for that apartment. He flips me the bird. What a living waste of space if I ever saw one. But at least I know who to visit later. Marcy Green might be the key to all of this after all, even if her husband played no part in trying to kill somebody. Maybe Huxley thinks he was acting paranoid when he bought back the gun. But considering his current state, it sounded like he was right to be afraid. But who's strong enough to rip a head clean off a body? That's just another question for later. Town Hall is predictably empty on a Monday. Most town meetings are on Saturdays, and that's when people tend to pick up their licenses. Chrissy isn't at reception right now, but I've been through these halls so much that I won't need to wait for her. Well, goodness gracious, if it isn't my favorite public servant. So that's why Franz called today. Shaking the mayor down for favors again. Well, what else is a mayor good for, anyway? He's very grateful to have more things to do. Besides, bearing fangs is more your line of work, is it not? Only when I have to. Of course, of course. You've had ample time to practice burying your guilt. I am not talking to you because I want to make merry and exchange quips. I know something that could help you, and I'm willing to trade information. Well, why didn't you say so? And here I thought you were just talking to me to pout about the ex-wife. Oh, we'll be talking about that too. Then why not move this conversation to the city library? It's the perfect place for sharing information for men with noble characters. I still have to talk to the mayor. James rolled his eyes. He's always available. And so are you. Now there's a private fantasy. Since you have such a great sense of humor, I'll make sure to dally at the library so that you can catch me there. Feel free to speak with the mayor first if you insist. Until then, Sheriff. I could follow up on James's offer. But then again, I'm already here. What should I do right now? Well, personally, I went to go see the mayor first, and then James. I don't really think it matters. Let's get this over with then. I step into Testerman's office. The big rat is pecking away at his typewriter, but he stands up when he sees me. Well, it's about time, Adler. There were some road bumps on the way, but here I am. Hendricks is threatening to cut all sorts of donation money if we don't set this right fast. I start laughing. What in the Lord's name is funny about that? Let's start with the essentials. The mining operation continues to place blame on CGCS management for the death of this particular miner. Tension is calm on the surface, but resentment brews below. Deputy Bronson found another dead body last night. His expression changes from one of anxiety to a look of sheer panic. Another miner? No. This one's a banker. I see relief wash over him. So this wasn't related to the other case then? A man is still dead, Mr. Testerman. He starts mumbling to himself. Well, sometimes it can't be helped. Men take all sorts of risks to make it out here, and not everybody can. There are fights and freak accidents and hasty decisions accompanying immoral acts. His head was ripped off. Oh, so probably an animal. Could be. Now I feel a lot better. Are you sure that you should? I didn't say that this was an animal for certain. Do any of your discoveries call for a state of emergency evacuation? I wouldn't say so. Unless this death isn't an isolated incident. I have reasonable suspicion to think that it could be linked to a target attack on one of the CGCS employees. But you just have suspicions. Not proof. That's what you said, right? That would be right. But odds are, I think it would be kind not to sensationalize a tragedy. He looks into my eyes as if he's looking for approval for what he's about to say. Wouldn't it? I think that should always be a priority. But what I'm telling you is that whatever this is, it probably ain't over, and it probably ain't isolated from the CGCS affairs. So you might want to prepare a statement ahead of time if things go to hell in a handbasket and you don't want to be caught with your britches down. I think I would prefer to be optimistic about the future, Mr. Adler. Just keep me informed about the present, please. Okay then. there are presently some signs of very clear scandals at the company that will make their way to the surface soon. That company is our town's lifeblood, Adler. Well, that's fine, but ignoring it won't make it go away. But isn't it your job to prevent a state of panic? I'm saying that if all these problems go back to CGCS management, then the panic is just going to keep coming back like clockwork. But you still need proof before we can bandy about these claims. I swear to God, this man is just as thick as pig shit. I didn't make claims. I shared suspicions. Let me make something very clear for you, Franz Testerman. I don't work for you. But if you ask me for help and aren't willing to take it, there's not much I can do for you. I do think that this could lead to a public crisis. So I think you should be prepared for that. And I'll tell you something, Mr. Adler. I will say it once and I will say it 100 times over. I must see the evidence before I am swayed to act. Why is that so hard for you to accept? The more I look into this man's eyes, the more I know that he has no interest in evidence. He sees what he wants to see when he needs it to be true. Do you already have a contingency plan in place for evacuating a population of over 6,000 then? There's precedent in place if such a need arises. And you've practiced them? Once again, I will not disrupt daily routines on the basis of an assertion. Alright, this is going nowhere. Then let's conclude this meeting. I turn around and put my hand on the knob. Wait! Yes? Do you really think that things are that bad? Yes. He wipes his brow with the kerchief. I could review the evacuation plans. But quietly and without getting the public involved. But just as a backup plan, I still have no intention of officiating an evacuation. That's what I've been saying, Testerman. That's better than nothing. I have to go now. You'll keep me updated then? I'll call if it's important. What a headache. We're gonna go talk to James now. Information shared among noble souls? And here I thought we were a couple of bastards. At least I can understand that. Pitiful. The library is big, but it's pretty underutilized. Because, well, let's face it, not a whole lot of people here like to read. Which I don't entirely get considering how little there is to do. It doesn't take me long to find him. He's reading a newer book by the looks of it. Dubliners by James Joyce. His bodyguards were sitting in a corner, flipping through magazines. Let's keep this quick. Don't act so stubborn, Mr. Adler. There's a treasure trove of knowledge all around you. Enjoy yourself. Not interested. You really did bring Hattie here. Why? My, you're so accusatory. That's because I'm accusing you of something. You're wrong to, you know. He flipped a page to the beginning of another short story. Araby. She's the one who reached out to me, not the other way around. I only did for her what I did for you. She just needed some money to stay on her feet to orient herself in someplace new. How generous of you. I am generous. When it's inconvenient for me, sure. Why'd you tell her where I live? Now that I cannot talk about. Did your generosity suddenly run dry? No, I mean simply that I don't know. Horseshit. Why would I need to lie? I genuinely don't know, and that's going to put you in the most amusing little tizzy. But how about granting me some of your generosity now? Share. I guess you'll have to ask yourself why somebody would try to assassinate one of your business associates. He lifted an eyebrow. Which one? Little fella who goes by the name Clifford Tibbits. He hummed. Well, that's no good at all. He's such a card, and much more fun than you. What kind of cad would put their hands on such a delightful boy? I'll have to keep a much closer eye on him from now on. I could help you with that. Your stalwart sense of judgment really is invigorating. I always knew deep down that you liked me. It takes a lot of willpower not to rip that book out of his hands and beat him with it. So, help me understand. Well, let's see. As is typical of your older workhorses, too many of them tend to keep very old-fashioned ideas. They might not approve of a foreigner in a higher-ranking consultation position. Particularly the men closest to my most important business partner, Mr. Briggs. And do you have the names of these men? Not really. There's simply too many, and they're all very closed-minded. But it shouldn't be too complicated to pick them out of a crowd. They tend to smell like raw earth, after all. He snaps his book shut. If it wasn't one of them, then I'm out of ideas. Then again, that one does have a bleeding heart. I wouldn't be surprised if he spilled his guts out to some savage and they took it the wrong way. You stop speaking. Now. Oh, don't be so sensitive, Adler. I'm not a monster. And I don't begrudge you for your primal blood on your mother's side. In fact, I think you're the best of two worlds. The raw and the refined. I see a pebble on the table. I pick it up and then flick it at his cheek. Ah, what the fuck? Am I bleeding? Oh damn. He is. I hope it stings, you son of a bitch. His guards rush over and he puts up his hand to make them stop. He smiles real big at me. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. He waves at me with his bloody hand. Until next time. Always an affable time. It doesn't take long for James and his men to clear out of the library. I never much cared for Joyce. Where's Baroness Arksy when you need her? So there are people who have a motive to hurt Mr. Tibbits. I think I've learned all that I could. That's just about enough of this place for now. William's been away for a while. It's hard not to think about the whole experience last night. How he described the body fighting against the mind. And our bodies being cages. And how we could love and hate our cages at the same time. Paul says, for the mind that is set on the flesh is hostile to God, for it does not submit to God's laws. Indeed, it cannot. Never much cared for Paul. He didn't even know Jesus. And he doesn't have much interest in living through the struggle of sin. His advice is, more or less, just don't have it. Which makes me think he lied a lot. To make people only hate their cages. To revel in death, to revel in breaking out of them as soon as we can. To rush into some place they don't know. Blind faith or eternal death. That doesn't sound like Jesus at all. If he sins against you 7 times in one day, and each time he comes to you saying, I repent, you must forgive him. Not 7 times, but 77 times. Jesus believed that sin and redemption were a journey. Paul didn't seem to want to walk at all, so to speak. Who in blazes does this? I think he has a lot of special jazz numbers that he's worried are getting scratched or taken. There's not a whole lot to do for these two once they found out Will locks his record cabinet. Surely he could just leave something cheap out. At the very least a holiday jingle or two. I wouldn't say the sheriff is much of a Noel type. They both flinch when somebody knocks at the door. Is Will finally back? Nah, He has his own key, so it wouldn't make much sense for him to be knocking. Back in a jiffy. A bit of an odd expression. Samuel, would you happen to know the increment of time that constitutes a jiffy? Don't know. It's just an expression people say. I've heard people use it before at my university, but it's much more prevalent here. How fun. Sam, you have a lady friend at the door. He lowered his voice. And she smells real nice. Like apples. Cynthia walks up to us through the doorway. She looks more dolled up than usual. Cynthia? Good afternoon, Sam. Hello, Miss Cynthia. Oh. You took me by surprise. Good afternoon, Mr. Tibbits. You look absolutely radiant today. Thank you. Now, I don't mean to be curt, but might I have some privacy with Mr. Ayers? Well, of course. You heard the lady. Now move out. Todd practically tackles Cliff out of the office, leaving Cynthia alone with me. Christ, Todd, if this was somebody else, it could have been a problem. It's been a few days. Yeah, I suppose it has. I guess I kinda lost track. She walks over to William's desk and starts rifling through his drawers. Whoa! What are you doing? Learning. That's illegal, Cynthia. Tremendous. She pulls out a notebook, flips through a few pages, and then rips them out. Lord have mercy, what are you up to? Just taking a few things about me and some friends that he has, that's all. I don't see the big deal. He's gonna know that you took them. Then I'll just lie. He shouldn't have this stuff in the first place. He's working on a case, for Christ's sake. You might screw something up. If he wants to record this information, then he can ask these girls for it to their faces himself. That sound good? Whatever. Is he using you to spy on people? He hasn't asked. Make sure he doesn't. I roll my neck. If he does, then that's my call to make, isn't it? She puts the journal back as neatly as she found it. I'm warning you, Sam. Folks in our line of work are the first to get blamed when shit hits the fan. Happens to friends in Colville and in Peyton. It's definitely happened here before, too. Wouldn't he have done that to me already, if he's gonna do it? I never said that I think he dislikes you, Sam. She flaps the pages she tore out of the book loudly. Then she stuffs them into her purse. I just can't ignore what he is, and I don't think you should either. Just find a way to protect yourself, even if you don't have to use it. And come back to work tonight. We miss you. Alright. I'll go in. We hear the front door open. I feel my throat drop into my stomach when I hear William's voice. I'm back, Sam. I look back and forth from him and Cynthia. She just crosses her arms. And Cynthia too? I didn't think I'd be dropping by here either, but if it's the only way to see Sam for days then, I guess it's all I can do. She adjusts her purse and then walks past Will into the doorway. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon, gentlemen. You know where to find me. Will watches her leave. The hell was going on in here? She's mad that I'm not at the brothel enough. Perfect timing then. He took some money out of his pocket and put it in my hand. For last night. Should be enough to get them off your back for a while, right? It won't hurt. But I think she wants to see me more. Will shrugged. Then maybe she should start paying. Hilarious. I brought you something to eat. What? More beans? It's a sandwich. A really nice looking one. Is that smoked salmon? There's a nice place downtown that was open. Did you get anything for yourself? I ate on the way. I'm glad Sam likes the sandwich. Cats are supposed to like salmon, right? Todd, watch over the station while I head to the Stag. Oh! So you're finally gonna learn how to dance, Sheriff? This isn't for fun, Todd. I'm going to scope the place out and ask some questions. And I already know how to dance. I guess I shouldn't be surprised. You do know an awful lot. Why don't you show him how, Sheriff? He seems eager. Oh, shut the hell up, Sam. I've been told that I can be very eager. Numerous times. Nah, this is something I think the sheriff should do. Smarmy shit. You're the expert on moving your legs. You do it. Sam's a dancer? No. Oh, nonsense. Everybody's a dancer when they find the right rhythm. Now let's find some music or make some ourselves. Have fun, Sam. I guess it's time to finally make my way to this club. I know the directions roughly, which means I'm gonna be walking for a while. For one of the busiest places in town, it sure is out of the goddamn way of everything. Though considering the kinds of things that go down there, I suppose that's part of the point. It looks like a massive barn, but it doesn't smell like one. I know what a bar smells like. The wide double doors are held open by a big rock, so it doesn't look like this place is closed often. There's a big figure in the distance lumbering towards me. That you, Nick? If you wanted to go for a drink, you should have invited all the others. I am sure that they would love to see how drunk I can get you. The last thing I want is a scene here. Could you help me fit in? Maybe get cozy with some of the regulars? Well, do not wear the badge, obviously. I already took it off, Nick. Ha! It is dark. Just put in effort to have a good time, and people will talk without asking. I'm on a time crunch, Nick. There are other places I still have to be. Not really. Very well, very well. He beckons towards the front door. Shall we then? I nod and sigh. After you. It's packed so dense that I can hardly move. Where should I look right now? You can't see it, but I'm dancing in my chair. Move to the ladder and we can escape the crowd. I know some people that we could talk to. It might be easier to scope out the place if I just look from a higher position. Might as well climb up the ladder and see what I've got to work with. There's a severe-looking fella in Eastern clothing sitting by the rails by himself. He looks like a sable. Say, Nick, do you know any of the folks in these parts who would be comfortable to share what they know with me? Maybe somebody a little less cagey? This is the spirited place, Will, especially after a few drinks. But I know some good union men who will share what they know if they believe in the cause. Over there, for example. Oi! Who should I approach? Let's talk to the miners first. Nick keeps nudging me towards a round table where a few men are talking. Dimitri, Paul, Felipe. He points to the bear, the wolverine, and the jackrabbit respectively. Say hello to Sheriff Adler. Sheriff, you say? We would be happy to speak with him. Would we? He is working on more than a few dangerous cases. So what? One of the men involved shot at me. Oh. Well, that changes things. You hurt? Not yet, thankfully, but for how long? Who can say? Just tell us what you need already, damn it. I'm glad you changed your tune, Paul. Now what might we help you with? I know it's not exactly a secret that your folks aren't happy with the management at the CGCS. I don't give a damn about management, I just want more pay. The management could also be better. Our chapter isn't exactly united on every front, but frustrations are certainly at an all-time high. Know anybody frustrated to assassinate one of James's higher-ranking employees? If you're here to sniff out the information about James, the Stag won't do much good. The hip is more his speed. In what way? The cardinal way. Noted. I hear that man gets sucked in woman more times than Taft got stuck in the presidential bathtub. Is he trying to make me vomit? That paints a pretty picture, alright. Anything else you can tell me? I think he doesn't seem to like the barkeep much. Sounded like he gets in fights with him enough. Not enough to get him banned from the establishment, apparently. Well, we all know what he's like. You're a lifesaver, Nick. I think I might have enough here, gentlemen. It's been a pleasure. Why don't you stay for a little while longer? I'm sure we have other mutual interests we could discuss other than James's 3. I'm on a time crunch, I'm afraid, but I think that's not a bad idea once this case is under control. I'll hold you to that. People usually do. There's a bar and a dance floor downstairs. There could be somebody down there with loose lips from all the alcohol. Who should I approach? Let's talk to the Sable. You might think that he was minding his business, but I caught him staring multiple times. Which either means he's curious about me, or he wants me to leave. Let's find out which. Mind if I take a seat? He dabs his pen in the ink again and keeps writing. If you insist, though I will be involved in my work. What sort of work? Translation. You keep giving me looks, so you know who I am, don't you? Difficult not to. Well, I promise I'm not here to give you a hard time. I just hope that the good people here could help me understand a little more about James Hendricks and his relationship with his employees. I have reason to believe that somebody might try to hurt his employees, and some folks are already hurt. I no longer work there, so I would not know. But do you know anything that might support the claim that Mr. Hendricks is putting his own employees in danger? The Sable looks like he's thinking. I can tell you something general. Anything helps. Mr. Hendricks very blatantly has favored employees. However, so does Mr. Briggs. There was very little overlap in those two groups, and traditionally bred resentment. But that's all I can tell you. Thanks, you've been very helpful, Mr. What is your name again? Call me Jiba. I try to pronounce it, but it's a bit of a mouthful. Thank you, Mr. Jiba. Oh, call for me anytime. Strange fella. Where should I look right now? Let's check out the bar and meet the Sonoran Wolf. I see an opening to fit into the bar, so I sit on one of the bar stools right now, so I don't miss my chance. The bartender strolls over slowly. What will it be? Just a scotch on the rocks. Coming right up. The barkeep turns his head towards me and squints at me. Hey, I know you. Oh boy, here comes trouble. You're Sheriff Adler. I hear some adjustments in the seats next to me. Right now, I'm just thirsty, thanks. How come you're not wearing your badge? Because I don't tend to need it for folks to know who I am. And I'm on a case. Are you saying that you have time to talk with me? Your drink will be right up. He hurries away and I can feel the breath leaving my lungs. That's what I thought. That was a scene that didn't need to be one. Some folks clear the seats beside me. A big Sonoran wolf stares at me through the space they left behind. He stands up, saunters over with a bit of a swagger, then takes a seat next to me. God, he's handsome. Bit hard out there for a lawman, ain't it? Hard out there for most people. Patronizing me won't get you far. Easy there, tough guy. Who says I'm looking to get anywhere? He leans in and strokes the edge of his beer glass with an index finger. Your posture, your tone, your gaze. You like to play games. What's so wrong with a game or two? Kane's the name. I feel a groan rumble out of my throat. That don't even rhyme. You calling me a poet? Careful now, I could take offense to that. I sip a little deeper and don't mind the burn. If you want to waste your time, go ahead, but there's not a whole lot of scotch in this glass. Truth be told, I just like to think your scars are interesting. Be careful about what you call interesting. Can I know how you got 'em? The swipe to the face was me getting too close to a thug after knocking a gun out of his hand. Slice me to ribbons. And what about the chunk out of your ear? That was just a bit of good old-fashioned torture. You say that pretty casual-like. I was trained for it. It's good that you know how to bounce back. Most men don't get far if they don't. Too true. Say, do you like to brawl, Sheriff? Why? You want to find out? Would you fight me if I gave you a kiss? That's real cute. Who's joking? The hell is with this guy? Thanks, but I don't have the time. Pity. Hard to find folks anywhere who can push as hard as they give. I suppose that's true. But I finished my drink. Find me some other time if you want to get physical, lawman. Just for a bit of fun. I'm flattered. I feel his eyes on my back as I rise out of my seat. Good thing I can see him in the mirror across the room if he tries any sudden moves. That's probably all I'm gonna get out of the people right now. I think I'm done here. Thanks for all your help, Nick, but I don't think there's a whole lot left for me to learn here. You wanna come back to the station with me? Sam will be there, won't he? He sounds resentful. Possibly, unless one of his little friends called him back to the brothel for chores. I think I'll stay here a little while longer. Did something happen between the two of you? He lied to us for weeks, William. He had his reasons, didn't he? For you? Absolutely. But me? I expect more trust. He told us eventually, didn't he? He told you. I think that's because he had given up. He seemed ready for the worst. But he should know that he can come to me for anything. And I think that he would have if he were in a better state of mind. Maybe you should take some comfort in that. Maybe. So, are you in a better state of mind now? No. But you're right. So I will be, eventually. He shifts the weight from his left foot to his right and looks over at the bar. Good night. Until next time. I hope he means what he says. Time to go. Everywhere I've been today seems to be pointing me to the same direction. The hip. Doris carved out a sizable space in this podunk. The CGCS put Echo on the map economically, but the brothel is the only thing in town that attracts genuine celebrities. Not everybody might be able to afford the hip daily, but everybody's been here at least once. And it's not just the prostitutes who love the madam. Mormons and the Meseta, Marxists and capitalists, atheists and Protestants, suffragists and sat- sat- satirists? Satirists? Bull moose boys, and yes, men conservatives. They might not break bread together, but they mingle in and out day and night under the uneasy solidarity of sex and socialization. It's 1 a.m. in here, so it's 11 p.m. there. I walk up the stairs and go through the double doors. The powder room is fully active. The first person I look for is a person I don't want to see. And I don't see her for now. But I have no idea how long I'll have. I'm out of time to interview only one person. Cynthia is flitting to and from nearly every single male in the room, starting conversations. Evening, Cynthia. She gives me a look. Evening, Adler. Saw you coming back from the station today. And? Just wondering what it's all about. You left in a bit of a hurry when you saw me walk through the door. It's hard to have a conversation with Sam when you're monopolizing him. The hell? That's crazy talk. Is it now? I've barely seen him at work now that he's running around town with you. He's a free agent. Funny how you're saying that. You know he told me, don't you? He did what? It seems like that scares you. Because it does. Now why is that exactly? I lower my voice to a whisper. Because it could get him in deep trouble. Or maybe you're just scared that I'll convince him that you're taking advantage of his fear? What the hell has gotten into her? You tell that story to anybody with loose lips and you'll damn him, woman. You really think the word of one Meseta hooker is more trustworthy than that of the big shot sheriff? I thought you were supposed to be smart, Adler. God, she really gets squeaky when she's mad. If you use him like you use the rest of the brothel and then leave him to rot, you'll take some damage. She's never been this brazen with me before. I'm not doing any of that. Are you kidding me? His habits are completely different now. I don't believe for a second that you aren't influencing him to stay with you. Calm yourself. I'm just trying to teach him to protect himself for once in his life. What he does with that is up to him. But he's not safe being on his own. Yet. There are things going on that you don't know about. She holds up a digit. I'll give you one chance, Adler. One. If you fuck him up, I promise I will find some way to make you pay. One chance is all I need. Don't you dare make me regret this. I take a deep breath as she walks away. Shit. I wonder who pissed in her grits this morning. I gotta shake this off. I'm here for a reason besides Sam tonight. Too many people pointed me in this direction for me to ignore that. The first strange thing that I see is Harlan, serving drinks. Dora is on the couch, watching me ever since I entered the room. The only other person that would be easy to access is Ethel, sitting along the couch. Now who would be the most useful to talk to? Believe it or not, it's actually Cynthia. Just one more thing, Cynthia. She turns on the balls of her heels and stares me down. What? If you really do care about Sam and the people in this town, I could use your help with my current case. I'm not interested in any of your crackdowns. Luckily, the room is still crowded enough to drown out our voices. It's murder, Cynthia. She lowers her voice too. Another? I nod. Can you tell me anything, and I mean anything about James Hendricks? Well, I hate the man's guts. He buys up Meseta land as quick as he can for much lower than its value, and then families have to turn to the reservation. So, it's personal for you. I decided a long time ago that I'd rather sell my body than let another man like that take away my freedom. He's a client I will never take. I saw earlier that you had Mr. Tibbits as a client. Did he ever talk about Hendricks or his business partners? Or maybe he named some folks who don't like him? Not really, aside from the man who hurt him earlier. He asked me more about my life than he talked about himself. And then he asked if I could braid some of his fur. Then he asked if it was a special Masetta braid, but I was just honest and told him it's how Lucy makes Shahala bread. Yikes. Oh, don't give me that look. He's just another man. Most of you have that bad habit of becoming overly familiar too often. It doesn't bother me that much because I never let it get too far. Well, I guess that's all that comes to mind. Thank you for your time. I check my watch. Shit, it's already been half an hour. I can keep coming back here ever so often for reports. But for now, I think I've lingered here long enough. The safest thing I can do right now is to look for Sam. He talks to the girls and I don't have to be out in the open to reach him. If he's not with the client, he's going to be by himself. Odd thing is, his door is open when I get to his room. Samuel? Nobody answers, which is strange. Sometimes he stalks the bar at night when nobody's there anymore. Nick found him drunk there once after drowning a whole glass of absinthe. He won't make that mistake again. As I go down the stairs and turn the corner, I hear somebody rattling around. Back so soon, Will? Shit. I see Hattie step up from behind the counter. I don't even want to see her, but there she is. Still as bright as spun gold as she was back there, but just a bit more frayed around the edges. Are you ready to talk yet, or are you going to just yell some more like a big old baby? Ain't much to talk about, is there? You're in danger here. I keep getting told that I'm in danger everywhere, Will. If not here, then it's the city. If not there, then it's any city in the north. Fact of the matter is, the whole wide world's a pretty dangerous place for a single mother. You had a support system there. There were people who would protect you and Andy. It was cramped and dirty. And it was expensive, Will. I would have sent money if you asked. Maybe I didn't want your money. If not mine, then whose? She pulls a lighter and a cigarette out of her pocket. She's trembling as she struggles to light it. She always did have frail hands. I'm paying my own way from now on. Besides, Andy's past the age of alimony. Mr. Hendricks needs a house cook. I already took the position. Don't do it. The man's a two-faced pervert. Aren't you too? She takes a drag of her cigarette. No. I told you the truth. It would have been wrong to stay together that way. We built a life together, and you put a child in me. I'm sorry I couldn't be the woman that you wanted me to be. All these years and she still doesn't get it. I cared about you a lot. And you still look good. So then, what was the goddamn problem, Will? It's useless to retreat this. So then, we won't. Hendricks told me that you reached out to him. Is that true? Only after I had already arrived. You moved here before speaking with Hendricks? In truth, the reason I'm here is because I'm worried about Andy. Why worry about him? He wants to join the army, Will. What's so wrong with that? I serve my country my own way. And look where that got us. My job had nothing to do with what happened to us. You're just going to have to trust me on that. I just don't think it's a good idea for him to go into the military, with what's happening in the world right now. He needs a strong male influence in his life to set him straight. Then you definitely don't want me involved. I'd probably encourage him to go. And why the hell would you do that? If the draft comes around, you might not have a choice. Better to get a head start on the officer position than getting dragged in as a foot soldier with everybody else, right? I don't want to think about that possibility. We might have to. She drops her cigarette into a glass of water. Shit. I pluck one from my pocket and hand it to her. She takes it. Then I light it for her. I don't want to lose him how I lost you. I told you before. You didn't lose me, Hattie. I was never yours in the first place. Is that supposed to make me feel better or something? It's just the truth. I'm sorry, there isn't any rhyme or reason to it. She exhales. I've been having all sorts of bad feelings, Will. Bad how? Feeling like I'm being watched. Or that there's always somebody waiting around the corner for me. Like those months when we were stalked. It's like they're back again. Or more like they never stopped. I've been feeling the same way. But I don't know if it's helpful or not to tell her that right now. How did you know how to contact Mr. Hendricks? A letter. What was the return address? Didn't have one. Do you still have it? She lowers her paw into the purse at the side and unclasps the copper buckle. Then she slips her hand inside. She pulls out an envelope with the sliced open and hands it to me. I pull out the letter and read it. Some photographs are taped to it too. What is this? That one is the inside of my apartment. The inside of my bedroom when I sleep. Somehow, some way, James made this happen. I'll kill that man. But won't leaving his own number incriminate himself? I don't think he sent the letter. But I bet it's his fault some way, somehow. Can you just look after our son if something happens to me, Will? That's all I'm asking. That's a big ask, Hattie. Please. I've got to go. Call me at the station if you don't feel safe. She's saying something as I get out of the back door of the saloon, but I block it out. I can't be mad at her if she's coerced into coming here. But I know that there were other places that she could go, and other people that she could go to. I thought I saw you stalking around here. Good eyes, good ears. I'm not surprised. Guess I ought to learn how to tread even lighter around here from now on. Save your breath. It's your fucking fault that we're out here in the middle of the goddamn desert now. Lord have mercy. Where to start? First of all, groom your whiskers better. They're gonna look like shit until your mid-20s. Oh, fuck off. Second, what your mom does is her business. I know that you work. Somebody has to stay with her and support her. And it's not you. He still thinks that he can pull this out on me. That's so? What's this I hear about you running off to the military then? Don't use that tone on me like you're my pa. Well, I am. But if that's not good enough for you, then just think of me as a concerned third party. You don't even know what concerned even is. Cut the crap, Andy. You're signing up or not. A man's meant to know what to do with a gun in his hands. I feel more of my breath escape me. You do better knowing how to trim first, Andy. I told you to cut that out. If you really want to enlist, then you should do it. Better to regret a choice you made yourself than to regret a choice somebody else made for you. It hurts a lot less. Will you promise to keep Ma safe if I do? I'm not gonna lie here. No. The hell do you mean no? Exactly what I said. This place isn't safe and I told her not to come. I'll protect her then. I'll do it with my own two hands. It's more than you've ever done. You have no idea what I've been through to protect your mom, and you probably never will. Now you listen and listen good. There are people here who absolutely will murder you and your mother if you let them get close. She said that she's here for other reasons, but she was coerced without a doubt. If you really care about her, then you'll buy her a ticket out of town. That's not gonna work. She'll do whatever you say if you don't enlist. It's okay, Will. I'm a warrior. You are nothing of the sort. Now go inside before I beat your ass. It's not safe after dark. The fuck you just say? He slams the door. Well, goddamn. That boy is in over his head. Maybe the military might do him some good. Will? Sam. What are you doing here right now? To be continued. So that was the end of the William update. So what'd you guys think? Do you guys really think that James Hendricks is smart enough to be concocting all of this elaborate murder, assassination, and things related to people that work for him, or is it somebody else? Did you guys choose different routes when you were doing this update? Did you guys get different results? I know that you can actually get the Sable to show his hand to William, and he has like different dialogue, I think. And I think that's all that's the only thing I know. If you were to go to the Stag at a different time or something, honestly, I don't know really. And I'm interested in Kane, not just because he's good looking, and not just because he's a Sonoran wolf, but because he took an interest in William. And I have a feeling that that interest is a lot more, than just because he was, horny and he saw William. He's like, God damn, that guy's hot. Because the guy has a gun. So he has a gun for a reason. He's obviously not security. And he might be working for Mr. Briggs or Hendricks. Because, who else would have a gun? And who would their employers be? And since he's not from the area, because the smoke room, at least in my mind, takes place around in the state of Utah, in what would be Mormon country. And he's a Sonoran wolf, which means he comes from, like, Southern California, Arizona, which is, south of Utah. So, yeah. And let's see, what else? What else happens here? We got to meet the mayor. I don't think that the sprite was there before, but I don't know if he ever shows up before that. And we also got to meet Huxley's little friend. His friend. Reed? No, not Reed, because it's Huxley Reed. No, it's Huxley Green, and this is Reed. So yeah, Reed. So obviously Reed had it in his mind that Clifford, the little tiny stoat, somehow, did Huxley in. But obviously that's not true. Unless this route has something else entirely going on that we don't even know about. And that Clifford is actually capable of murder. But then again, Duke from Echo, the crazy old druggie Duke, who also shows up in Arches, is related to Clifford. It's his like grandson or something. His great grandson. But yeah. We'll have to wait and see what happens in like 4 more months. But the next update for the smoke room is actually a quality of life update, which means that I won't be doing it. Because it's really just adding or updating certain things. So Huxley and Reed and other people that didn't have sprites in the past will now have sprites. So there really is no reason to do it. But the update after that, meaning the update for January will be Clifford. So yeah. So when Clifford comes out, I'll be doing him. You know, his route, not doing him. Anyways, I'm more of a Murdoch and Nick kind of guy. And what was his name? Kane. Anyways, moving on. Anyways, thank you all for watching / listening. If you would like to play the Smoke Room yourself, you can find it over on itch. It is an adult visual novel though, so, be aware of that. If you would like to support the Echo Project and get early access to the Smoke Room, Arches, Ad Astra Interia, and Glory Hounds when it comes out next year, you can support the project over on Patreon, and there will be a link down for that. If you would like to follow the Echo Project Twitter, there will also be a link down for that, and they do post updates about, the visual novels as they come out and stuff like that. And I think that they might have a link for when, their current visual novels get updated, so you can, stay up to date on stuff like that on there. You can also find their Discord and, talk to people that like Echo Project stuff. I'm also on there, but I don't really regularly chat there. I think the one that I'm most active in is right now the Home Somewhere Else one. Yeah. I don't know why. I only post like sporadically in there, but yeah. Anyways, yeah, so I guess I will see you guys in the next video, and that will be, where the demon lurks, because there was already an update for that, so yeah. Bye-bye.